My name is Ethan Ward, maintenance technician on the Orion 9 trading station. Not a soldier, not a diplomat, not a hero. I fix broken wiring, jammed airlocks, and malfunctioning food printers. That's my entire galactic resume. But everything changed the day I found a small alien girl sitting alone in the station's agricultural district, sobbing beside a broken water synthesizer. She was tiny, maybe 8 years old by human standards, with shimmering lavender skin, long silver gold hair, and eyes that glowed softly like a nebula. She wore a dress of crystalline fabric that shimmered like it cost more than my annual pay. Definitely not your average traveler. "Are you lost?" I asked gently. She sniffed and nodded. "I can't find my mother. People here look at me strange. They won't talk to me." I knelt beside her. "Well, I'll help you talk to people until we find her." The girl's face brightened as if hope had been switched back on. I repaired the machine she had been sitting near, mostly to make her smile, and we walked through the public concourse searching for her mother, but no one recognized her. We visited security next. They asked who she belonged to, where her mother might be, but the girl didn't know their language well. The guards were impatient, too busy with cargo hearings to care about a frightened child. It bothered me. So I stayed with her, helped security file the missing person details, and waited. Hours passed. She leaned against me and eventually fell asleep. I wrapped her in my jacket. I didn't know her name, her species, or where she came from. I only knew she needed someone, so I stayed. Later that night, her mother arrived. The station shook as a massive flagship docked, far too large for commercial reasons. Security panicked as an entire honor guard marched through the halls. And then she walked in, a striking alien woman in gleaming ceremonial armor, taller than any human, with regal posture and eyes of molten gold. The girl woke the moment she sensed her. "Mama." She ran to the woman, who dropped to her knees and embraced her tightly. Her mother looked up at me with overwhelming relief. "Thank you for protecting my daughter." I nodded awkwardly. Anyone would have. But the way she looked at me told me she didn't believe that. She bowed, not a tiny nod, but a full, formal bow. Everyone in the security office froze. I kept insisting it wasn't necessary, that I had only done what anyone should. The mother insisted on rewarding me. I refused, and eventually she left, taking her daughter's small hand. I thought that was the end. It was only the beginning. Middle.
I didn't see them again.
Not for 6 months. Life went back to normal. Repairs, broken pipes, occasionally dangerous but unglamorous work. The incident faded into memory. Until one morning, alarms blared. Incoming warship class, unidentified. Security scrambled into combat positions. I ducked under a maintenance desk, expecting a pirate strike. But instead of boarding weapons, a landing bridge extended. And walking across it was the same girl, older by a year maybe, but unmistakable, dressed in ceremonial attire. Beside her walked her mother, now fully armored and accompanied by soldiers in white and gold. Their weapons were sheathed. This wasn't an invasion. The mother gave a short command. "Locate Ethan Ward." Before security could react, the girl rushed forward and grabbed my hand. "There you are. You fixed the water and gave me your jacket and stayed with me and kept me safe," she said breathlessly. "I told Mama we had to see you again." Her soldiers surrounded us, not aggressively, more like protection. The mother looked at me with the same soft gratitude as before. "I am Queen Seraphis of the Solara Dominion," she said. Her voice was powerful, the kind that silences stars. "My daughter, Princess Leora, has not stopped speaking of you." I swallowed. "I'm glad she's safe. But why are you here?" Leora pulled my hand tightly. "Because Mama said I can choose who I want to marry when I grow up," she declared proudly. "And I choose you." My brain froze. The soldiers froze. Security dropped their weapons in confusion. Queen Seraphis didn't react with anger. She simply smiled a small, concerned smile. "Leora," she said gently, "Ethan cannot marry someone who is not an adult." The child frowned. "But then when I'm big, he'll already belong to someone else." I tried to breathe. "Leora, You don't have to worry about that, I said softly. You'll meet so many good people in your life. No, she insisted. I already met the best one. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Queen Seraphis eased down to eye level with her daughter. Gratitude and affection are not the same, little star. That's what you say, Leora whispered bitterly. But you didn't sit alone and scared for hours. That silenced even the queen. Leora turned to me again. You stayed. You cared. No one else did. That's what love is. I felt the weight of her words more deeply than I expected. She wasn't talking about romance. She was talking about safety, trust, and the memory of not being alone. Queen Seraphis stood again and gave me a different look now, not grateful, not formal, but hopeful. Ethan, she said quietly so only I could hear, we are not here to ask you to marry my daughter. She is still a child. I nodded gratefully. But, she continued, we are here because she has chosen you as someone she wishes to keep in her life. To learn from, to trust, to become part of our family bond, not as a husband, but as someone she belongs to emotionally. I stared, overwhelmed. I'm just a technician. No, Seraphis said with firm certainty. You are the man who stayed. Yendi. Princess Leora refused to leave without me. Security kept asking whether I wanted to file some report, as if I was being coerced, but that wasn't the situation at all. Leora wasn't demanding a marriage. She was begging not to lose the one moment of safety her childhood had ever known. And just as I began to understand that, Seraphis stepped close. If you wish it, she said softly, you may come with us. Not as property, not as royalty, as family. You will never be forced into anything. If you ever ask to leave, you'll be returned home without delay. But if you stay, Leora will grow up believing that compassion is not weakness. I looked at the girl, eyes wide, shimmering with hope, and I knew my choice. Someone once stayed for me when I was a child. I owed the universe the same. I knelt, so I was eye level with her. Leora, I said gently, you don't need to rush growing up. And you don't need to marry me someday to keep me in your life. I'll be here anyway. Her face lit up, with the brightest smile I'd ever seen. The queen exhaled in relief. The girl threw her arms around me, and for the first time since humanity reached the stars, a royal guard kneeled toward a human not out of duty, but respect. As the flagship left the station with me aboard, Leora didn't let go of my hand for a second. She leaned against my shoulder and whispered, you didn't save my life that day. You gave me a world where I wasn't alone. That's why I chose you. And maybe, just maybe, that's what family really is. Not blood. Not obligation. Just someone who stays.